1 through 20 vocab by Jade and Caitlin Pommel. Long-term causes of the Civil War. Sectionalism. That was when states were separated because of different views and beliefs. A major difference was if slavery should be allowed or not. The North opposed it while the South was for it. Slavery. Differing economic needs / reliance on slavery in the South. Slavery was needed more in the South because of its close vicinity to the equator, and it needed more agriculture attention. Compromise of 1850. It was up to California on whether there would be more slave states or more no slave states. So California admitted as a free slave state. Kansas-Nebraska Act. Nebraska would be north adjacent to the free state of Iowa. Kansas would be to the southwest of the slave state Missouri. Dred Scott was an enslaved Missouri man who had been taken north to work in free territory for several years. After he returned with his slaveholder, he sued for his freedom, arguing that living in free territory had made him a free man. This was the Dred Scott decision. Freeport Doctrine. The Freeport Doctrine, advanced by Stephen Douglas during the second Lincoln-Douglas debate, held that local authorities reserved the right to enforce federal jurisdiction as it saw fit. This extreme stance in support of nullification eventually undermined Douglas's political credibility, rendering him to a martyr to his own cause of popular sovereignty. Austin Manifesto described the rationale for U.S. purchase Cuba from Spain. This happened in 1854. Emancipation Proclamation, a decree freeing all enslaved persons in states still in rebellion after January 1863. Only freed enslaved African Americans in states at war with Union. Gettysburg. Union suffered 23,000 casualties, South suffered 28,000. Proved to be turning point of the war in the East. The Gettysburg Address was a speech given by Abraham Lincoln in dedication to the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. In just 2 minutes of giving the speech, Lincoln reiterated the principles of human equality espoused by the Declaration of Independence. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. The 13th Amendment banned slavery throughout the U.S., which led to the 14th Amendment that declared all persons born naturalized in the U.S. were citizens and entitled to the equal protection of laws. Then, leading to the 15th Amendment, states shall not be denied on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. This related to voting. Black codes, laws passed by the southern states after Civil War, had the intent and the effect of restricting African Americans' freedoms and compelling them to work in labor economy on low wages. Radical Republicans strongly opposed slavery and strongly a Republican. They would do whatever they needed to do to get what they believed passed in laws. When farmers would lend land to the slaves and then take part of their crops to sell, it was a way of there being slavery, but technically not. They were taking advantage of them. Debt peonage. This was saying when black farmers had debt to pay to white farmers, so the white farmers would have them pay it back with labor. This was another way of getting away with slavery. That would come down south to exploit or take advantage of businesses that failed. Hiram Rhodes Revels, first African American in Congress. This was a big step for African Americans in becoming more equal. Dear, racism was at an all-time high. Everything was segregated. The schools, the water fountains, bathrooms, buildings, stores. We may have been equal in law, but not equal with the people. The Jim Crow laws, more laws made to get around other laws. For example, the 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendments they would get around by making the voting laws harder if there was reading or a sight test that you had to do, and not many African Americans knew how to read more important documents that were harder to understand, and they would give the whites easier things to understand so they could vote.